Camilla had shattered the glass in her hand while watching the wedding ceremony on television. Diana's wedding dress was so beautiful that it stabbed Camilla's heart like a dagger. "This should have been my place," she had whispered. But what hurt most was the way Charles looked at Diana. There was an admiration in his eyes that he had never shown Camilla, and Camilla realized at that moment that the greatest battle of her life was beginning. Because Diana had taken not only the man she loved, but also everything she wanted to be. July 29th, 1981, 11:20 a.m. While the whole world was watching Charles and Diana's wedding, Camilla Parker Bowles sat alone in her living room in front of the television. Andrew had gone to play polo early that morning. "I don't want to watch the wedding," he had said. But Camilla had to watch, because that wedding was the end of her life. The teacup in Camilla's hand was trembling. When Diana entered Westminster Abbey, Camilla held her breath. "How beautiful," she had whispered to herself. But this compliment was full of pain. Diana's wedding dress was magnificent. 8 meters long, decorated with pearls, fairy tale-like, the kind of dress Camilla could never own. "I could never wear such a dress," Camilla had thought. "I'm too old now." Diana was 19 years old. Camilla was 34. This age difference infuriated Camilla. But the truly devastating moment was the way Charles looked at Diana. There was a sparkle in his eyes that Camilla had never seen. "Charles never looked at me like that," Camilla had thought. When the marriage vows were read, Camilla couldn't hold back her tears. But these weren't tears of joy. When Charles said, "I will love you forever," his voice was very determined. Camilla had turned off the television at that moment and thrown her cup. The cup shattered against the wall. "This should have been my place," she had cried. From that day on, Camilla's life began to revolve completely around Diana. Every morning when she bought newspapers, she looked for Diana first. In every television news program, she waited for Diana. Every outfit Diana wore, every smile, every movement drove Camilla crazy. "Why is she so beautiful?" she asked herself. She studied Diana's photographs. She analyzed her style choices, her hair models, makeup, posture. "Could I do this too?" she wondered. Camilla stood in front of the mirror for hours. She compared herself to Diana. "My nose is bigger, my eyes are smaller, my hair is duller." These comparisons made her sick. One day Camilla had gone to the hairdresser. "I want Princess Diana's hairstyle," she had said. The hairdresser was surprised. "But this might not suit your face type." "Whether it suits or not, I want it to be like Diana's hair." The result was a disaster. Camilla's face wasn't suitable for Diana's soft features. "I look terrible," she had said, looking in the mirror. At home, Andrew's first comment was very cruel. "Are you trying to become a princess?" This remark had deeply wounded Camilla. In secret meetings with Charles, she constantly brought up Diana. "How is Diana?" she would ask. Charles was initially surprised. "Why are you asking?" "I'm curious. Is she happy?" "Yes, very happy." This answer broke Camilla's heart. "Happier than she was with you?" Charles became uncomfortable. "Camilla, let's not discuss this. But I want to know. Why do you hurt yourself like this?" "Because I know I'm jealous of her." Charles remained silent in the face of this confession. But what was truly shocking was the secret file Camilla kept about Diana. Camilla had a special drawer in her house. It contained everything about Diana: newspaper clippings, magazine photos, notes from television programs. "Lady Diana wore a blue dress today. She looks very beautiful," she wrote in her diary. Princess Diana appeared with a new hairstyle, more beautiful than anyone. Charles and Diana look very happy. I wish I had been the one. These notes showed Camilla's obsession. She particularly closely followed Diana's pregnancy period. Diana is pregnant. How lucky. Charles will be a father. She studied Diana's maternity clothes, comparing her own body. I was never this beautiful when pregnant, she thought. Camilla had children too, but she hadn't experienced that fairy tale pregnancy Diana had. Diana's baby is very important for the royal family. Mine are just ordinary children. These thoughts depressed her even more. When William was born, Camilla had cried in front of the television. Diana became a mother. Charles has a son. Camilla had felt so worthless that she hadn't left her house for days. I can give Charles nothing. Diana gave him a future. These thoughts drove Camilla crazy. This was exactly when everything changed. Because Diana comparisons in Camilla's meetings with Charles became unbearable. When Charles saw Camilla, he now behaved differently. More distant, more formal. Charles, you've changed, Camilla had said one day. How have I changed? You're colder. You don't treat me like you used to. Charles didn't know what to say. Camilla, I'm a married man now. Weren't you married before? This is different. How different? Diana is very young, very innocent. I don't want to be unfair to her. These words had deeply hurt Camilla. So being unfair to me isn't a problem? You're different. You know life. Because I know life, don't I have feelings? Charles couldn't answer. From that day on, Camilla felt she was constantly being compared to Diana in Charles's eyes. Diana wouldn't do this. Diana isn't this demanding. Diana would understand. These sentences drove Camilla mad. I'm not Diana. She had exploded one day. I know. That's the problem. This answer had destroyed Camilla's world. Charles was now openly saying he preferred Diana to her. Diana is very beautiful. You are different. How different? Ugly? No. But Diana has an innocence. Am I not innocent? You are experienced. That's different. Camilla understood that Charles was in love with Diana's youth, innocence, and beauty. That evening, Camilla had looked at herself in the mirror for a long time. I am old. I am ugly. I am experienced, she had said. These words were killing her. From that night on, Camilla began following Diana more closely. Every place Diana went, every outfit she wore, every word she said she recorded. Maybe if I learn her secrets, I can win Charles back. This thought drove her to obsession. You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet. Because Camilla's obsession with following Diana would reach much more advanced levels. Camilla began tracking Diana's social schedule. She researched which events she would attend, where she would appear. Diana will visit charity organizations this week. She took notes. Then she tried to attend the same events. I should also get involved in charity work. Maybe Charles will be proud of me. But Camilla's efforts seemed very artificial next to Diana's naturalness. Diana is very sincere. She charms everyone, she thought. Diana was very natural when playing with children, chatting with elderly people. Camilla seemed to be making an effort, struggling. Why can't I be like Diana? She got angry with herself. Camilla also tried to imitate Diana's style. She researched the brands Diana wore. Diana wears Chanel. If I buy Chanel too... She bought expensive clothes, but they didn't look like Diana's on her. I don't look as beautiful in this dress as Diana does. She learned Diana's favorite colors: blue, pink, cream. She changed her wardrobe according to Diana's style. but the result was nothing like she wanted. I look like a copy of Diana, and a bad copy. Worst of all was Andrew's reaction. "Are you trying to become Diana?" he had asked. "No, I just changed my style." "You're copying Diana's style. This is very embarrassing." These words had devastated Camilla. Camilla also analyzed Diana's speaking style. She recorded Diana's interviews and listened to them over and over. Diana speaks very kindly. Her voice is very soft. She tried to make her own voice similar to Diana's. But this also came across as very artificial. Charles had noticed one day, "You changed your voice." "How?" "You're trying to speak more softly." "Is this bad?" "It's not natural. You're not like this." This criticism had deeply hurt Camilla. Charles was now openly saying he loved Diana. Diana is very special, a very rare woman. How rare? Both beautiful and intelligent and good-hearted. When Camilla heard these adjectives, she felt very inadequate. Am I not beautiful? You are different. Am I not intelligent? You are practical. Diana is poetic. Am I not good-hearted? You are realistic. Diana is a dreamer. In all comparisons, Diana won. Wait a minute, don't miss this detail, because Camilla's comparisons with Diana looking in the mirror would drive her into a very deep depression. Every morning when she looked in the mirror, she saw Diana next to her. Diana is taller. I am short. Diana's hair is golden blonde. Mine is brown. Diana's skin is very white. Mine is olive. Diana's eyes are very big. Mine are small. These comparisons drove her crazy. Camilla tried to resemble Diana with makeup. She did her eye makeup according to Diana's style. She changed her lipstick to Diana's color. She even bought Diana's perfume. Maybe Charles will love this perfume on me too. But nothing worked. I will never be Diana. This reality was destroying her. Camilla started dieting. Diana is very thin. I look fat. She went on an extreme diet. She lost a lot of weight. But she still didn't look as elegant as Diana. Diana is naturally elegant. I'm trying to be elegant by force. Camilla started exercising. She learned Diana's fitness program and tried to do the same. But her body wasn't as young and flexible as Diana's. I'm not Diana's age. I'm too late. This thought depressed her even more. One of her most painful moments was seeing a video of Charles dancing with Diana. Diana danced very elegantly. They were in perfect harmony with Charles. I never danced like this with Charles. Camilla started taking dance lessons. Maybe if I can dance like Diana. But the dancing she started at 34 couldn't capture Diana's natural grace. Diana was born for being a princess. I'm just imitating. Camilla's biggest fear was that Charles would completely forget her. What if Diana is so perfect that Charles never calls me again? This fear kept her awake at night. When they met, she couldn't stop herself from talking about Diana. Diana looked very beautiful this week. Camilla, why do you constantly talk about Diana? Because you love her. You are also special to me, but not as much as Diana. Why do you compare yourself to her? Because you prefer her. Charles was very uncomfortable in these conversations. I love you, Camilla. But Diana is my wife. And I'm just a mistress. Don't talk like that. But it's true. I'm the secret lover living in Diana's shadow. This reality was killing Camilla. What you've seen so far is nothing. Because the crisis Camilla experienced at the peak of her jealousy would almost drive her mad. In 1982, Diana became pregnant for the second time. Camilla had learned this news from television. Diana is pregnant again. How lucky! Camilla was going through a very difficult period in her own life at that time. Her marriage with Andrew was bad. Her meetings with Charles had decreased. Diana has everything. I have nothing. She couldn't bear to see Diana's pregnancy photos. How beautifully pregnant! How happy! Camilla felt very desperate during that period. What am I doing? Why am I following Diana's life so closely? But she couldn't stop herself. When Harry was born, Camilla sat in a cafe near the hospital, waiting for news. Princess Diana gave birth to a healthy baby boy. When she heard this news, Camilla started crying. Charles's second son is born. I'm just an observer. That day, Camilla had a serious reckoning with herself. This obsession is killing me. I don't have to follow Diana. But the next day, she was looking at photos of Diana leaving the hospital again. What a beautiful mother. What a happy family. Camilla's own family was falling apart, but Diana's was perfect. Why can't I be Diana? This question followed her day and night. Camilla considered getting psychological help. This jealousy has reached the level of disease. But she didn't go, because she couldn't give up her Diana obsession. What if I completely lose Charles if I stop following Diana? This fear bound her even more to her Diana obsession. Camilla's friends began to notice the situation. Camilla, you constantly talk about Diana. Do I? I didn't notice. This isn't healthy. I'm just curious. This is too much for curiosity. But Camilla didn't listen to herself. One of her worst moments was a speech Diana gave at a charity event. Diana had spoken very impressively, charming everyone. Diana is very intelligent. She speaks very well. Camilla had compared herself to Diana. I can't speak like that. That night, Camilla had been very angry with herself. Why am I not half as good as Diana? These thoughts depressed her. You won't believe it, but how Camilla's Diana obsession changed. Camilla was very tragic. Camilla was no longer living her own life. She was living Diana's life. Whatever Diana did, she tried to do. Whatever Diana wore, she tried to wear. Whatever Diana said, she tried to say. But she couldn't succeed in any of them. I'm a bad copy of Diana. This reality was destroying her. Camilla's own personality was beginning to disappear. Who am I? Someone who imitates Diana? Andrew had noticed this situation. You're no longer Camilla. You're someone trying to be Diana. Don't be ridiculous. Your clothes, your speech, your behavior, everything imitates Diana. This criticism had deeply hurt Camilla. Charles also noticed. Camilla, why are you trying to change yourself? I'm not changing. You used to be very natural. Now you look very artificial. How artificial? Like you're trying to be like Diana. These words stabbed Camilla's heart like a dagger. I'm not trying to be like Diana. But it looks like it. I'm just improving myself. You were beautiful as yourself. Why did you change? Charles's words forced Camilla to think, am I really myself? Or am I a copy of Diana? This question drove her mad. When Camilla looked in the mirror, she could no longer see herself. She saw someone imitating Diana. Who am I? What do I want? These questions pained her. One day, Camilla made a brave decision. She decided to give up her Diana obsession. I will stop following Diana. I will live my own life. She threw away Diana's photos. She burned newspaper clippings. She destroyed her diaries. I will live a life without Diana. But this was very difficult. The first week, she didn't watch television to avoid hearing Diana's news. The second week, she didn't buy newspapers. The third week, she didn't attend social events. But the fourth week, she couldn't stand it. What are Diana's latest news? She wondered, and she fell back into Diana obsession. I can't live without Diana. This is my life now. Camilla realized that Diana obsession had become an addiction for her. I'm addicted to Diana. This is very sad. But she was helpless about getting rid of this addiction. Diana is at the center of my life. This won't change. Camilla finally accepted living with Diana obsession. I am someone living in Diana's shadow. This is my fate. This acceptance both relieved and saddened her. She saw that being jealous of Diana and trying to imitate her made her unhappy, but she couldn't give it up. Diana will be my lifelong rival. And Camilla continued this war, even though she knew she was losing it, because a life without Diana seemed very empty to her. This story teaches us jealousy prevents people from being themselves and leads to unhappiness. Camilla's secret war against Diana forced her to lose her own identity, and the most painful part was that no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't become Diana. Because everyone is beautiful only when they are themselves. It would take Camilla many years to learn this lesson,